Hello, and happy Sunday, everyone. We are back. This is your girl Shadana for Chit Chat Podcast, and look, I'm so excited for today because look, we had a great Sunday last Sunday with our first ever women's panel, and it was suggested by our men's panel that we had twice this year, and the women did not disappoint. So we wanted to kind of piggyback today off of some of those topics, those deep discussion topics that we had on last week that we didn't get to kind of deep dive into. So we're going to touch on those today and have some further discussions with those. And we're going to talk about some grown folks business, right? I know when you were probably a child and was younger, you had the opportunity to walk into a room and your parents or somebody was grown was talking and they said, get out of here, grown folks is talking. And you got pushed out the room or told to go outside and play. Well, guess what? This is the kind of conversations we're going to have today. Grown folks business. We're going to be talking about grown folks stuff. So nothing's off the table. We're going to be discussing some real life stuff because, life be life, and right? Situations be happening. There's things that we deal with day to day. Some things that, you're probably thinking like, I ain't never had to deal with that, but you never know what might come to your doorstep. So we're going to talk about some things today and discuss some things that you may not have experienced yet, but these are topics that, has happened. And these are some things that are happening every day. And we pull some stuff off of situations that we've seen, social media topics or whatever. So we're going to dive into that today and have some open discussion. So we want you guys to chime in with us. Give us your input as well. We're going to have some guests on with us today that's going to also give their input and their perspective on some of these topics. And we're going to be real and raw with you guys, real, raw, and relatable. So, and that's what we want you guys to do. Bring it, ask your questions, give your input, and tell us what you think as well. So, you got questions, comments, or whatever, as always, put it in comments. We would definitely highlight those things and make sure we acknowledge those. But I want to bring on my co-host. Y'all have already met her, and she's joined me quite a few times this year, and will be joining me for other episodes as well. So if you guys can welcome Miss Tequila, my co-host. Hey, Tequila. You're on mute.
Hey y'all.
What's up? How's your Sunday going?
It's going well. So today I'm spending Sunday with my family. We're pre-Thanksgiving today, so it's been a lovely day. But aren't you
Oh,
glowing today?
am I?
You
Good.
are gorgeous per
Look.
usual.
Oh, thank you. But look, I'm so excited with holiday time. I always kind of bring that family time, and people just feel good, right? When you get around family and doing the family kind of stuff. So it makes people, get all excited about that. So I hope y'all enjoying it. Y'all eating some good food because y'all down there in the country.
We're in the country, honey. So
Right.
you already know how we're bringing it in the South. So
Right. So
yeah,
where y'all at, Tequila?
we're in Kathleen today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're in
Oh, so yeah, y'all eat good. Y'all eat good.
Of course.
Look, I'm not even thinking about the food yet. Jada posted something today talking about she already saying her grace for Thursday. So that's how I'm pretty sure that's how the majority of people are already preparing and thinking about Thursday. So I know we have a lot of people who are preparing for Thanksgiving this week and gonna be doing some traveling. So we want to give our traveling grace to you guys who might be traveling for this week. Be safe. If you're traveling to go visit family or whatever, we always want to give you guys safe traveling mercies or whatever. So we want you guys to come back and chat with us and be back with us, after the holidays, and let us know how things went with y'all families and what y'all did. Y'all know I've been traveling, so I'll be like to share what I'm doing, what y'all done did, what y'all done ate, everything. So, but I know Jada was working some technical difficulties, so we're gonna let her continue that for a couple minutes. Are you about ready? Okay. I know we're waiting on another guest to join.
Okay.
But since we got one already backstage, we're gonna bring him on and let him introduce himself as one of our panel members today. Hey, Mr. James, can you go on and introduce yourself to the Chit Chat Podcast fam?
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? I'm Joseph James, Jada James' father. How's
Look,
it going?
they know Jada James. Jada is our little executive producer. She works behind the scenes or whatever. But Jada co-produce sometimes when co-host sometimes when I'm absent. So she look at her tongue. That's my daddy. Daddy's girl.
That's right.
But yeah, so she kind of co-hosts sometimes when I'm not here. So her and Tequila, tag team when I'm not here. So yeah, that's her daddy. But he do you still have your podcast?
Been pretty busy the last few months, so I really haven't been able to
Pick it back up.
yeah, get my schedule right. So it's been
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
he
been
had
one
a
of them years.
well hopefully you can pick it back up because he had a really good podcast. What was it called? Cigar something.
The Sexy Cigar Lounge.
Yeah, the Sexy Cigar Lounge. Me and Tequila
Yeah.
kind of jumped on it a few
You did.
times.
Oh, okay,
we
okay.
jumped,
True.
yeah, we jumped on it a few times, gave our little input on
Can
there.
y'all can y'all hear me
During the
clear?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we can hear you clear. And so we jumped on it a few times, and in some of the discussions, a great podcast. Y'all did a great job with that, and just wanted to say that, and hopefully you guys pick that back up because it was a good thing. Y'all had a great audience and everything. So.
Yeah. I see y'all doing y'all thing on this one. I like this.
Oh,
I like the
good,
setup.
good.
Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
we are 1 year in, and
Okay.
so we're picking up with viewers and subscribers and all of that. So how it
Cool.
is when it's new. So it's all about people liking and sharing and all that kind of stuff.
It
But
is.
we're excited about what it does and what we're trying to do with it. So, but we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. So last week, just to catch you up, JJ, we call him JJ, but his name Joseph. Um, to catch you up, last week we had a women's panel, and we had an all men's panel before on this podcast, and the men panel was on. We did it twice, and they suggested that we do an all women's panel because they felt like they've been in a hot seat twice, and the women came shooting all kind of questions to them, you know.
Okay.
And so they was like, they felt like it was time for the women to be in the hot seat and for them to get questions, whatever. And so last week was the first time that we did the women's panel, and it didn't disappoint. So the women came, they answered questions. And so some of these questions that we're picking up today are some questions we didn't hit last week. And so we're just going to kind of open that up for open discussion so our audience gets to chime in and, and piggyback on some of the questions and answers and to chime in as well. So, and we just kind of want to get other people's, different perspectives as well. So I know we got another person supposed to be joining our panel. They're running behind. So when they get on, they'll be chiming in as well. So
So who asked the questions? The audience
Jada's
did?
gonna pull the questions up.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Jay's gonna pull the questions up, and then the audience gets to respond as well. And we're gonna dive in it. Just like they say, grown folks business. So wherever it pops up, that's what we're gonna talk about and dive into it. But we appreciate you coming on to Chit Chat Podcast
For
and
sure.
helping us open this grown folk discussion.
For sure.
All right, Jada, shoot them up. Okay. The first question says there is often pressure for a woman to be preparing herself to be a wife. Shouldn't that same pressure be given to men as husbands?
Hmm.
So do I
You can
answer the
start. You
question?
can start it off. You can start it off.
All right, so there's often pressure for a woman to be preparing herself. Um, I feel like I feel like from a male perspective, a man a man should already prepare himself to be a husband once he leave his parents' house. You know,
Mm,
Uh, and preparing yourself to be a husband comes with a lot of maturity, um, stability, um, you know, making sure that you're just ready. And that that shouldn't be pressure. That should be a part of who um, a man grows into. Uh, some people make a lot of mistakes marrying people for the wrong thing, but once you prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, then you know that that shouldn't be pressure. It should be a part of who you grow into as a grown man. So, I mean, I wouldn't say pressures. I would say, you make yourself, you know, ready to be a husband, and that just comes with life. It- if that answers your question.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think a lot of the, a lot of pressure is put on women. Everybody's like, trying to prep a woman to, be in position, so your husband can find you, and and all that pressure is put on women,
Oh, okay.
to be found, and to make sure your husband, you can, you be ready for, to be married and all this kind of stuff. But I think it's equally important for men to be ready as well.
Yeah,
It doesn't serve us right as women to be prepared, and we got all these unprepared men. So we're preparing ourselves, and then there's the unequipped and unprepared men out here, and it gives an unequal playing field for us when it comes to trying to find a spouse or mate or whatever. So I think we need to make sure that you know men have that same pressure to make sure that they're being prepared as well, and not the pressure just being put on women to be prepared for marriage. Hey, Miss Vonda, Tequila, what you think?
So I think that like you said, I think there is traditionally the pressure for women to prepare themselves, for marriage. Men on the other hand, not so much. Probably because for men there's like the pressure to achieve like certain goals career wise and everything prior to being prepared for marriage.
right, right.
So, in consideration, I do think that, times have changed and we are evolving. And so, as we are evolving and societal norms begin to change, I think that, individual choice is, important in that, we should tend to recognize that as more important than, the pressure to be prepared for marriage. Um, so that's kind of like where how I feel about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the only pressure of a man is to make sure that he finds somebody that he wants to grow old with. And I think the pressures of a woman is to make sure that she find somebody that is spiritually and mentally connected. And I think you look at people's background too to figure out, who they are. I'm not saying that that's 100%, you know, uh, the goal, but at the same time, you can look at how a person family dynamics is, and you can pretty much tell how they was raised. Um, but I don't think a woman should put a lot of pressure on herself to prepare to be a wife. I think a woman knows when she's ready to settle down, and don't give a person so many years of your life before they, ask that question to you. Um, if you make a man comfortable, with just being with you all the time, then he's not going to be ready to be your husband. And I think a lot of mistakes are made when they be in these long term relationships, you know, before they get married, because you really take the goals out of a person if you're not putting that expectation on where you want to be at a certain time in your life with a certain person, you know.
Yeah, and I think with new age dating now too, some of the aspects you have to look at it like, because I'm raising General Z, a Gen Z kids who thinks very differently and they date very differently than when I was dating their at their age. Um, their focus and their goals are so differently than what my focus and goals were at their age. Like, um, when I was at their age, all I could think about is all I want to be is a housewife and, be a housewife and have kids and get married. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about being a career woman and all this kind of stuff. And, but my kids are career driven. All they thinking about is making money and getting their money, getting their bag and traveling and doing their thing. And so I think when the pressure for preparing yourself, like when it comes to men and women now, especially when you talk about younger people, um and when I talk to my daughter now, I have to make sure that she's capable of bringing something to the table when she is when somebody decides they want to make her their wife, that she's bringing something to the table as well. Because at any given moment, if that table decides to part ways, my baby ain't left out there with nothing, because she already brought something to the table. And when she leaves that table, she leaving with something as well, because she didn't come empty handed. So, and so you have to be preparing that way as well. And so when I look at preparation, I look at things like that, because back in the day when my mama and was dating, it was all about a man, being the provider, the total provider. And so a lot of times they totally depended on that income of that man. Now you have these career driven women who are providing and bringing things to the table now. So there's more things they bring in and offering, other than just physical, spiritual and other things that they presenting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, I mean, our daughter is our daughter, so I talked to her about the same thing. Get yourself together first. I mean, you know, um, career wise, get yourself together first. Don't go looking for nobody to take care of you. Because that's not where you want to be in life. I mean, you got to be equally yoked, and sometimes that is career wise too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, this is a new era, and if a woman these days is looking for a man to take care of them, they really gonna be looking for a long time. You know, um, I just and when you say pressures, like I said, these women out here have a lot to offer, because
Mm-hmm.
they're getting into positions of power now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they having the best jobs, and salaries are increasing, and a man has to bring something to the table these days. To be honest with you,
Exactly.
because I mean, these women are making more than the men. So that's why I said, they should be, just getting themselves together, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And if a man can meet you right there, then, and you guys are on the same page, then I think it'll work out.
I agree. Anything else you want to add, Tequila?
No, just like everyone, is not fit for marriage, and I know that it's there's pressure, from different people, society, traditions, but everyone's not fit for marriage. And so, the decision to get married, I think that, instead of, having time in the forefront, I think we need to put emphasis on the quality over timing. The quality of relationship is way more important than the timing of marriage. And just because rushing into a marriage, with those type pressures on you, that's the reason for a high divorce rates. And so,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately it can lead to poor choices. And so, you don't want to, rush into marriage for all the wrong reasons and then
Right.
in divorce. So, I know it's an individual, choice to be made, but hey, sometimes you just have to go against the grain, like regardless of tradition and upbringing and society and the norms and everything. Like, you have to just sometimes just do what makes sense.
Right. I'm here. I agree with you. I want to add, since you said that, I want to add, I would tell anybody the goal is not to be married. The goal is to be happy. Make sure that you're happy, first. Make sure that you're at peace with who you're with first. And I think that that should be the goal because everybody jumps into marriage and society says, well, if you're not married, then you're not complete. But, you know, be happy. That's the goal.
I agree. Okay, I'm gonna read some of the comments as Jada get ready for the next question. Guy, what is the definition though of being prepared? Because that's a new phase that one is not used to. So anybody want to hit that up? What is the definition of being prepared? And then there's a comment that for women is more of a capability of a man from what I've seen. So I guess they're saying is more from women is more of a capability of a man. The goal is to be a rich wife, not a rich man's wife. Hi, Shonda. She said, hi, Shan. So happy I'm able to catch this session and tune in. Good. I'm glad you on too. Jada. I know that's right, Father. Jada, okay. Hey, Wendy. Yes, happiness and peace is everything. Okay. That's coming from a married woman. All right. Thank you. Hey, Wendy. Thank you for time checking in with us. We're going to go to our next question. What's our next topic question, Jada? Dive into the next one. Okay. This one says, it is often said a man will know he wants to marry a woman 6 months in. Is that adequate or sufficient time to know if a person is the one? Look, I'm going to say this because my pastor might be watching this. My pastor back in Georgia, Pastor Paul. Pastor Paul says dating requires getting data. I don't know how much data you're going to get in 6 months. I mean, some people do it because I've seen it happen. And um, and I'm going to give the example of Joseph parents because they met. There's a story behind their marriage, and they just hit what 50, what 50
Yep.
years, 50
Yeah.
years married, and they met on a blind date, dated for 6 months, right, and got married, and they've
Yeah.
been
It
married for
wasn't
50
long.
years.
It wasn't long.
Yeah.
What?
So it happens. I know it happens. However, Pastor Paul says dating requires getting data. So whatever amount of data that requires for you to connect the dots to get what you need to get to make, to solidify what you need to solidify, to know what you need to know, to find out if that person is adequate or sufficient enough for you to be your mate. I say, hey, if it fits for you, it fits for you. So, but everybody, it don't work for everybody. So that's my input.
I'll let the young lady go if she wanna go.
So I don't know about that time frame. I'm still for quality over time period. I think that 6 months, it's definitely feasible for, it being a time for observation, but how much you can get done and observed and experienced within 6 months, I think it's going to greatly depend on your relationship dynamic, how much time you're spending together, what's your living arrangement, what you're doing within that 6 months. And then even then I think that too is going to depend on like the depth of your relationships, your conversation, it's so many facets to it. um but I'm just not for putting a time frame or time limit on things like marriage. I think you have to feel your way through, through life choices such as marriage. And to say that, 6 months is enough time, possibly could be for some people, but in my opinion, not for most.
Well, I would say this. Like I said earlier, um, it all depends on who you meet. I don't think marriage is. I don't think when you're married, you still know who the person that you are with. That's a long loss. That's a long life thing right there. You know. So I don't think the time. I mean, the whole 6 month thing. I really that's my first time ever hearing something like that. But I know with a man, you know the quality of a woman that you have in your presence. You know the quality of that woman. It all depends on how you want to take that quality of a woman and grow with it, you know. And I don't think it takes 6 months to find that out. You know a person's heart when you with a person. Like you know exactly what you got. And it don't take 6 months to know what you got. Now it's a lifetime to collect data. My mom and dad been married 50 years, and I, they was just at my house yesterday, and you know what I'm saying, going back and forth about something that it was just funny, but at the same time, that's how they work, and that's how they keep on getting to know each other, even after 50 years. You're gonna keep on learning the person that you're with, but the person that you choose to date, you know exactly who that person is. Now, some people chose to ignore red flags, you know, because they keep on giving a person chance after chance after chance after chance, and you already knew who that person was because they showed you who they were, a long time ago. But they can show you the good part of them and the bad part of them, but it all depends on what you want to tolerate and how long you want to tolerate that too. So that's my that's my little 2 cents.
Good stuff. Yeah, yeah, I said, it's different from different folks. I know it has worked for some people. Some people, like, they know as soon as they meet a person, be like, I met my husband or I met my wife today or whatever. So some people are adamant about it and say it has worked for them. So, but I'm the kind of person I got to know, and I got to know that I know that I know, and God got to confirm that for me. So, but and even when He confirmed it, I probably need another confirmation just to be sure. So, but yeah, I'm gonna need that second, third confirmation, kind of thing. But yeah, but hey, Wendy, hey, Jermaine. Um, But we're definitely, we've definitely seen people where it has worked for it, and like, you know, his parents, it worked for them. They did a blind date, fell in love. 6 months later they were married, and 50 years later they're still married, and they have a beautiful marriage and relationship. So
Mhm.
hey, Dot and Joseph James, give them a shout out in case they listening.
I
But
think
we're gonna go to our next question, Jade. If you can go ahead and prepare that one. Wendy said, "Say it now, girl." Look, you have to say it because, honey, look, some people out there like they out there saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be married by, you know, February, March, or whatever," and people be doing it. I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
and then it's a choice too at the end of the day. Like people, some people go into it with the mind to succeed. So, no matter what, they're dedicated and committed to the success of their marriage. My mother-in-law and mentioned to us the other day, she said, some marriages work because, the two people decide that we're committed to this marriage. We're committed to this relationship. We're committed to making it work. And so, they're willing to stay in there and just pretty much like ride it out, thug it out no matter
Right.
what. So, and
Right.
when you have that level of commitment, yeah, it's destined to work, you know?
Look, I'm all about that now. Look, we gonna work this thing out. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm gonna be all about that in 6 months. Look,
Yeah,
let's ride it out for a year. You know, coast this thing out for a year. We get that year mark. Look, we committed for life. I'm there. I'm a lifer with you, but you know, let's get past this so I can see a little bit more. So 6 months just won't cut it though for me. You got to get a little bit more to me, I think, but we'll see. Our next question says, does submission comes with conditions?
right.
I know a lot of ladies hate that word submission. They swear it's like a cuss word or something to them. So
Mm.
ladies, do submission, or men, do y'all think submission comes with conditions?
No, for me, I think you submit to each other. I don't think it's a gender thing. Um, I think you submit to each other. Whatever works for y'all dynamic in y'all relationship is what works. For y'all dynamic. If my wife is smarter with finances, then that's her thing. You know, if I'm smarter with you know, decision making about certain things, then that's my thing. But we always got to be, what I'm saying, on the same level as far as, you know, talking about certain things and being able to compromise and be on the same page without feeling like you're overshadowing um, the other person, or you're not, hearing them out. I think submission comes with great communication, and you always have to pray about it, and you always have to be able to understand and compromise. And if you're not doing that, then that whole submission thing will turn into a conflict.
I think, in my opinion, I do think submission comes with conditions. Um, we kind of hit on this last week on our women's panel, and I kind of answer it the same way, because the Bible, instructs us as women to submit to our husbands, and but you know when it instructs us to submit to our husband, it's talking about a godly husband. So, and when the Bible gives instructions to that godly husband, he's talking about that godly husband who's, giving provision, being the leader of the home. So that's the man that has a vision, for the home. And so I don't have a problem with submitting to a man that has a vision, who's a leader, has a mission for my household, and so forth. However, if that man loses his place or loses that, I don't lose respect for him or his position, but there's no way I can submit, because submission means under a mission. If he loses focus or loses his place some kind of way in that leadership position or whatever, and that goes for any leader. Like if it's a leader on the job, the president or whatever, if they lose it, they lose that focus and leadership, and that the decision they're making will like disrupt the family unit or disrupt the mission or whatever, and that it will do detrimental harm to you or whatever. You can't just be submitting to something crazy. You can't just be submitting just because that's what you're supposed to do, because you guys are a unit as a husband and wife. So it does come with conditions when things like that are in place. When he loses his place, when he's if I'm married to somebody, he gets on drugs, or he has a mental breakdown, and there's things that he's dealing with that makes him mentally unstable and stuff like that. I can't submit to that. Those are conditions that makes him double-minded, where I can't submit to things like that. And so as a woman and a woman of God, that's why I have to cover my husband and have to cover my household. So I have to look at things like that. And it's not me being overbearing or trying to be in control or whatever the case may be, because I would never overstep those boundaries in normal circumstances. But when circumstances provides where he's out of line and out of place in those kind of areas, then yeah, when those conditions are in place, then I feel like, yeah, submission would have to be aborted.
Yeah, I agree. I think that although submission is like a voluntary choice in this individual choice that you do make, I do think that most of the time it does come with conditions. Just anytime that you're aiming for a healthy relationship, there are terms that is built on mutual respect, understanding, trust, open communication. Those are some of the things that are essential in order to for the relationship to thrive. And so I do think that in order for there to be submission, there are just some conditions that are essential. I think that's just the way that just the way for to ensure that you're protecting the safety and the security of the relationship is to have conditions in place prior to agreeing to submit. You can't submit to nonsense. That's just yeah.
We got some comments. Hey, TJ. TJ Rabb says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husband. Oh, he giving us scripture, y'all. That if any obey not the word, they also may be won without the word by the conduct of their wives. 1 Peter 3:1. TJ, you need to be on the panel. Look, if you want to come on the panel, TJ, let us know. Jada send you the link so you can join on here, so you can chime in. Shonda said, amen on the conditions. I guess she's saying I can't submit, or I can't submit to going down a rabbit hole. And Wendy said it is. I guess she was commenting on something. And TJ Rab says, does submission, okay, comes with conditions in the military? Great question. Great question. Great question, TJ.
I think I think with that word submission, I think everything is just built off of trust. The trust for the person that you with. Like I I think trust is a big thing, and you can't break trust and feel like someone should submit to you. I mean, trust is everything. So let me just say that.
Yeah, trust is always important. I mean, even with any leader, trust is going to be one of those integral parts of being a leader. Establishing that trust, and once that trust is like broken, I mean, you can't. that's a boundary that's going to break a whole lot of things, not just submission, but a whole lot of other things that it's going to that's going to factor in with that. So yeah, Andre said trust is the foundation to submission for sure. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So any other feedback on that one? That was a good one. TJ got me. He got me on that one. He said, does submission come with conditions in the military? It should, because some of the people we getting in the military now and what we're about to get. Yeah, it should. It should. So, because some of the decisions I can say some of my military bosses, I did not agree with everything that they did.
But you had to submit.
Yeah, and that's what he's pretty much saying.
Yeah.
That's what he pretty much saying. I did not agree with anything, a lot of things that they did. So, but because I wasn't in a position to challenge it. Yeah. So, absolutely. Okay, Jada, will you go with our next question? Okay. You and the ex are no longer together but remain friends and decided to remain roommates. Um, but y'all live together. How are y'all dating life going to be handled going forward?
Mm.
That's
First of all, I don't do no shacking. I don't do the shacking thing, so that won't be my scenario. But because if he gonna be an ex, he gonna be an ex, what, an ex husband, and if he gonna be an ex husband, we ain't remaining in the same house. But mm, and
I
we
mean,
ain't splitting no house in half, so I don't know how that's gonna work. But li- look, living together and then still trying to date. Mm-mm. I've seen it happen though, because I dated somebody that did that. So I've seen it happen,
mm,
and it
some
didn't
people,
work. It didn't work well for them either.
yeah,
So
some people do it, but I don't understand it. Like, I mean, what we gonna do? You gonna keep your company in the front of the house, and I'm gonna keep mine in the back. No, I don't.
no, they never bring the company over because eventually somebody's gonna get jealous. So they never bring the company over. They always come and visit you, or y'all go somewhere else. But eventually somebody's gonna get jealous because either you're gonna get serious with somebody or they're gonna get serious with somebody, and something's gonna have to give, and one person not gonna be able to give in to the giving. I've seen it happen. I've gone through it, so I've seen it happen. So I've lived through it.
I think it depends on like on the depth of your relationship too, though. Like, and then like the basis for the relationship ending. Like, did you end mutually? It just depends on the terms, of the separation, or the termination of the relationship. Like, did we end because it was a mutual agreement, or did one person want the relationship to end and the other did not? I think you just have to consider you know why the relationship is ending and what the expectation is moving forward. Like, if we're on the same page as far as the expectation moving forward, I think it can work. But if there's still feelings involved, then yeah, that's too risky. I wouldn't want to gamble like that.
I'm like April Moss McGee. That's dangerous. It's very dangerous because you're out there getting involved with other people, and then you're placing those other people in position to get caught up because here you're getting involved with people and they're getting pretty serious with you, and then your ex person see this, and then now they're feeling a little jealous, like, oh, he or she looking a little happy with so and so, and that happiness looking good on them now. They weren't looking like that before. Now they looking good. you know. And I'm telling y'all, true story. Now they looking good. And so now the roommate situations start to be flirtatious situations in the house. So now you walking around the house doing certain things that you weren't doing before. So
Yeah. And then you too, you mentioned, the new person. So you do, when you consider something like that, you do have to consider like the effect that it's gonna have on the future of relationships. The next person, like they may not be cool with that, like how they're gonna feel about that. So yeah, it can be too much. It sounds like a recipe for, just a mess. And so it might be best to, try to avoid it. But I think that definitely with like a high level of maturity and communication, like it's possible, but highly risky. Like April said, dangerous. It can be dangerous. So just tread lightly.
yeah, maturity level has to be very high because, and I mean that, and it has to be for all parties.
Yes.
The people that you're dating got to be, the intellect level has to be like, oh, okay, so and they got to be receptive of that. You got to be dating those kind of people too, because otherwise they're gonna be like, y'all doing what? You know. So, and I wasn't aware of that situation in the beginning. So, in my defense, I was not aware of that situation in the beginning. So, it was not told to me. So, that's how that went. Jermaine said, true. Jada said, so pigging back on that, how long do y'all have to move out after a breakup with living costs being high? Jada, living costs just high up here. It ain't high everywhere now.
Sounding like
Look,
a lot of people would make a differ on that.
look. You just give me my security deposit. I'll be out your way.
Let me answer my daughter. Um,
Immediately.
ASAP.
Exactly. Immediately.
ASAP. Don't sit around there. Don't sit around there and be thinking y'all gonna be roommates because y'all gonna be fighting and it's gonna be a real toxic environment. Based off of the rent. You can find somewhere to go. Just go.
Right. Mm-mm. I'm not even trying to do it. I'm not even look. I can already tell you now. I don't even like to share my sandwich, so I know doggone well I'm not going to be sharing no house with you, and then trying to watch you doing whatever. No, even if we ain't together, no, not happening.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Get somebody else to do it.
I
Can't
know.
do it.
I'm definitely spiking the lemonade now. Like,
Look, who you telling? Look, and she want to use who bathroom? Mm-mm. She better go. She better go down the street to the Wawa.
real petty.
Lord have
Look, she
mercy.
better go to the Wawa. She can't use the bathroom up in here.
Lord have mercy.
April Moss McGee said, I'm not mature enough. Me either, April. I'm telling you, girl. I'm gonna be petty Betty all up in there. For real. TJ said immediately, exactly. TJ laughing too, Jermaine. I'd rather go back to my mama house. I'm trying to tell you. I go somewhere.
You know,
Look.
you're not trying to
Cause
go back.
we not doing that. Oh gosh, we not doing that. Jay said, guess y'all will have to make sure a room is available for me. Jay, I already told you, Jay, when you leave, you can't come back. You don't have no room when you come back. That's Brownie room when you come. Brownie takes that room. Next question, Jada. She said, oh yeah, the Wawa girl. The Wawa bathroom. She ain't coming up in there. He said, soon as the new buddy slide by for the pickup, somebody gonna be peeping out the window crying. Girl, TJ, look, they be ready. They be ready. Okay, the next question says, do you need titles or marriage to feel secure in a relationship? Why and why not?
Titles?
Yeah, some
No,
people
no.
feel like they need a title or marriage to feel secure in a relationship. Like they feel like they need to be married. If we've been together 5 years, I need to either be your wife or something. Because I'm not trying to be the
Well,
friend in the obituary if something happened to you and you die.
well, I think you should have a level of expectation for what you want in your life. And I don't think being a long term girlfriend is the goal for a lot of people. So I think having a level of expectation for what you want in your life should be made clear to the person that you're with. You should have relationship goals if that's what you want. Especially if you and someone is together and y'all been together for a while. Yeah, set an expectation.
I think that I personally never really needed the titles. However, just like JJ was saying, like underneath the titles though, like the criteria for the title, what defines the titles, like yeah, I'm big on that. So as long as, me, I'm just all about setting the expectation. And, as long as you meet the expectation, it falls within the criteria. Like I don't need the title to feel the security, but the expectation definitely is set, and you need to adhere to those expectations. I definitely feel that way, but titles, nah, not necessarily.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think the title is the goal. I think the expectation of what you want in your life is the goal. And if you feel like, what I'm saying, being married and being being committed and uh spiritually, on a level where you guys are a married couple, yeah, set that expectation. Don't let no man just be dating you for 8 years. That don't make no sense. And he don't have an expectation of who he wants you to be. You know, that don't make no sense.
Yeah. I don't feel like I need the title or marriage. However, I need the substance.
Right.
So, you're gonna have to provide me with the substance, and a title or marriage. Even if I had the title or the marriage, it still don't solidify that for me. It's the commitment and the covenant that solidifies it for me. So what you do and how you do things don't solidify that for me, and that's all with the substance for me. So, 'cause titles mean nothing. I mean, I've been married before,
Yeah.
and I was married to a person where that marriage meant nothing to him. And so, and because of that, you know he said that it's just a piece of paper to me. When he got
Mm.
mad one time. And so because that's what it was just for him, he didn't respect anything, you know you know in that marriage. And so because of that, to me, because I took marriage as this is my covenant, this is what it was for me, and he didn't see it that way. He didn't have a respect for it. And so, going forward, as soon as I see a sign of somebody not respecting the foundation before we get to marriage, the foundation of a relationship like that, then it's going to be a big no for me. Because if you're showing that in the foundation of the relationship before we get to the expectation of marriage, then that already flags me because I've already seen that. And you know, I don't need the title on a marriage. I need the commitment and the covenant.
Yeah, I get it though. I get it that, some people do need those titles in order to feel like the stability. Um, but in the absence of the commitment to the titles and the sense of responsibility to and ownership of the titles, it don't really make sense that, you would require, just to have the label. I tend to think that like the titles really are for everyone else and not necessarily like beneficial to the person if you're not honoring, you know the titles and upholding, the criteria set forth under those titles.
Right. And I think the only thing that it would solidify for me is, I jokingly said this earlier, but the only thing I think it would solidify for me is the fact that I don't want to be no friend in the obituary. If any, and we've seen that before. We've seen that, with people who passed away and they've been together umpteen years. And then, and they can only put you in there as, a special friend in the obituary because, y'all was in just a relationship. It was no covenant, no marriage, no nothing, in place. And so I don't want that. And so, you're not gonna special friend me in a obituary like that. So, that's the only way that a title or a marriage was solidified for me to that aspect. I don't
And
want to be special friend in that aspect.
I think those titles uh, are it's pretty heavy because those titles should show you and the person that you're with how hard you guys are willing to fight for what you guys are committed to. You know, I think once you become a husband or a wife, the expectation of each other should be even higher. Now, now you have something to hold on to, and you have something to fight for, and it should be a little bit more serious than, I get mad at you and I leave for, you know, a couple nights and I come back. Nah, when you're a husband or a wife, you're gonna do the necessary things to make that relationship work, and that's what those titles should, you know, be a significant uh, title for is how how hard are we gonna work to keep this thing together, to grow together, to be, lifelong committed people, and that's what those titles hold. And again, I'm just learning all this, as I grow older as a man, and I realize certain things are why they are. And one of the things about being a husband or a wife is how hard are you willing to work to stay together? And I'm not talking about through toxic stuff. I'm talking about just the growth. Again, I look at my mom and dad, and my dad had two open heart surgeries, and my mom had cancer, and both of those people locked in every time. And that that came with that marriage. So
I
You
do.
s-
I can
go.
kind of see like where I can kind of see it like just thinking about what JJ just mentioned. I can kind of see it from the perspective of having those titles also like being a sense of accountability. Um for you, like you of course, you have your partner to hold you accountable whenever you have the title that you're aware of, but when you put the title out there, everyone's aware of that title. And so then you have others also holding you accountable to the
it
same
is.
standard. And so then you have like, instead of just your partner holding you accountable, you got community and,
You got the whole world.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, the village. Yes,
Social
everybody.
media,
I
social media, yeah.
yeah.
They put their stuff out there to social media like they husband and wives, but you're in the back channel with somebody else, trying to sneak and geek like that. That's
Right. And
that,
you took the words right out of my mouth, accountability, because, when we're just friends, it's easy for you to walk out or to walk away and quit on me or to quit on us because, there's nothing holding you here. But when we're in a marriage together, we got to fight for this thing. It ain't no breakup. It ain't no, we breaking up today and making up tomorrow. No, we in this thing. This is a marriage. This is a covenant. This ain't no girlfriend boyfriend thing anymore.
Right.
But I think too though, in order to even like, that has to be the expectation though. That has to be mutual expectation, because
Right.
you feel that way about marriage, but you have to ensure that that's your partner's expectation
Yeah.
of marriage too, because
Right.
people marry every day, and they don't have that same standard
Right. Right.
comes to the commitment to the marriage. So there again, I think there comes in the forefront of it, the expectation too, underneath those titles, like make sure that that's being conveyed and
That
understood,
is.
executed more so than like the title of marriage. Because if you value marriage, what does that encompass for you? you're gonna
Mhm.
you're gonna value more than that what marriage encompasses. So that's where the understanding needs to be communicated and conveyed, I think.
Right. I
Yeah.
agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree with that.
We have some comments. April Moss McGee says having a title of being married means that we have had a conversation to solidify our relationship. Jada says yes, because I will know where we are progressing to. April also says the mutual agreement of the conversation is what's needed.
Mm.
Absolutely. That's what Tequila just referenced to. Jada also said, I feel like it's more of a path, like where we are at. Like you talking about progressing to as well. Okay. And April also says title versus marriage is like comparing apples to oranges. Very different expectations.
That's
Very different. Absolutely.
mhm.
Right.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to have one more question and wrap up with this one last question. Great discussion, though. Great discussion thus far. All right. Do you feel that your relationship with yourself sets the tone with every other relationship? And this means how a person feel about themselves is reflected in every aspect of their lives. I definitely think so. How do
Mhm.
you um, how do you expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself?
Yeah.
So I definitely think how you feel about yourself should definitely sets the tone on how you, I mean, not even just in relationships with, a significant other or the opposite sex, but your relationship with people, period.
Mhm.
Your professional relationship or whatever. And I think that's where people need to make sure that, mentally that, they're sound and, spiritually or whatever, if whatever path they on spiritually or whatever, that they have some kind of groundedness in that area as well, because um, how you feel about yourself definitely sets the tone. How other people gonna see you, how you gonna see yourself, and how you gonna feel and carry yourself as well. That's my input.
Yeah, I agree, Shadana. I agree with you on that. I definitely think that how you treat yourself is also a representation of how you present to others. And so when others see, how you present to them, they tend to identify that as a standard for how they view you and how they treat you. Not all the time, of course, but most of the time. And so that's why it's very important to just treat yourself well, carry yourself well, and be mindful of, how you're presenting to others. Because, without like honoring yourself, self-respect, like how can you even expect others, to give you that same, reverence? So I definitely think that, how you feel about yourself is reflected, by how others treat you.
Yeah. I mean, stop looking for somebody to make you happy. You know, you got to have happiness within yourself, and you guys got to be happy together. You know, because you know some people have selfishness when it comes to happiness, but you got to already be happy with who you are. You know, I always said nobody can make me happy. I got to make myself happy, and whatever else they brings is just, you know, it's a blessing. You know, everything else is a blessing. So
I agree. A lot of people like to say, well, you know, that's my other half, or they'll say, that person completes me. I don't like to say that because I want to be complete. I want to be a whole person when I meet my person because I want to be totally complete, you know, whole and happy and mentally well and where I need to be when I meet my person, because when two whole people meet each other, there's nothing needed to be added other than the fact that everything will be bonus addition. You know what
Right.
they bring, what I bring, and be addition. I mean, everything will be the icing on the cake. You know, I don't need completeness. You know, because I feel like when you're whole, when you're working on yourself and you're a whole, healed, complete person, and you meet your person, and that person has worked and on themselves equally, and they're whole and complete, two whole people, working together and loving and being together provides, added bonus to each other with whatever they bring to the table and whatever they add to each other. Hey, Miss Rita. Miss Rita came on here. Hey, Miss Rita. April said yes, but sometimes you're unaware of how great you are until someone makes you unaware.
That's deep. That's
Yeah, that is. That's a mouthful, April.
real.
I,
That's a mouthful,
I,
and I
I,
can
I mean,
I can definitely understand that.
I'm gonna
And
say,
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
say this because I read that a couple of times to try to understand what she's saying. I think with that right there, I think the person that makes you aware is the person that is building you up, and we should always have somebody. If somebody loves us, they should build us up anyway. Uh, I mean, that's pure love. You know that they're not making you aware; they building into you. They pouring into you. You know, they they letting you know that you could be anything that you want to be. You know that's a great partner. You know, that's a great friend. That's a great friendship. And I think that people have to marry their best friends, and I'm not saying best friend as, like, girlfriends. I'm saying best friends as, um, people need to marry people that compliment them, build them up. I don't want to be stagnant in a relationship. I want to always have somebody that's gonna have my back, especially because of how crazy the world is right now. You, you're gonna need somebody that to tell you the truth and to be honest with you, and also to understand. You know,
I agree. I just want that's it. It just made me think about when you said that. Made me think about it, and I want to shout her out because she's right here on the podcast. My friend Tequila, because she's that kind of friend, and have been as of recently, because sometimes we go through things. Life be lifing, and we go through things, and sometimes we do have to be reminded. And so that's a great point, April. When you said that, I was like, yep. I can definitely attest to that. So, and sometimes we have to be reminded because there are things that happen to us that would take us, that would knock us off, and will and we have to be reminded. And because I have a friend such as Tequila, she had to remind me, and because I love her her rawness, and how she's always been with me. I can take it, and so, and she gonna bring it to me. And so she had to remind me, like who the hell I was, and who I'm going to still be. And so days that I thought that I wasn't going to do the things that I wasn't going to do, I was able to do it because I was reminded, because my friend, made sure. So thank you, Tequila, for that, because when I seen that comment, it instantly made me think about you
Way to
Girl,
go,
when I seen
Tequila.
that.
Way to go.
I
Yeah,
love you. I saw April also commented and said that that doesn't mean that she doesn't you know
she's
that
not
doesn't
sure
mean
herself. Yeah,
that she's Christian. But I say that to say this, like I think that if we're all being honest, which you know that's what we're here for, that's what we do. I think that we can all attest to the fact that we all tend to feel insecure sometimes about ourselves for different reasons. Life, like you said, life is life, and sometimes, and things can come at you from all different perspectives, doubt your self-worth. But nevertheless, I think that it's important to know that you don't need others to validate you and to make you feel validated. But when you're in a relationship, it definitely helps. Like it
That's
definitely helps. You
that's
know, it,
true.
it helps. It helps to have, your partner, extend, a warming embrace,
For
a
sure.
compliment, because what else what are we doing it for?
That is.
That's what we're supposed to be doing it for. We're supposed to be uplifting, one another. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Shadonna, I love you, girl, and I know that you would do the same thing for me.
absolutely, absolutely. You know it.
That's right.
April said yes, but sometimes we're. Oh, I read that one already. Miss Rita said, "I agree, Tequila. You have to teach and show people how you would like to be treated." Absolutely, Miss Rita. April said, "Correction. That doesn't mean I'm not sure of myself." Yes, we get it. And Wendy said, "Yes, Tequila. Yes." So I'm gonna close with this before I let you guys get some. Before I'm gonna close with that, I'm gonna let y'all get some last minute comments. So JJ, I'm gonna let you do some last minute remarks. But before that, I just want to say thank you. We really enjoyed you today, chiming in with us on some grown folks topics and conversation, and having your input and getting your perspective on some things. I really appreciate you. You look, you welcome to come back to Chit Chat Podcast anytime. We have an open panel, and when we have our men panel back, if you want to come back for that and chat with the men on the all men panel, you're welcome to do that. So I'll extend that invitation to you as well. But the floor is open, so I'll give you an opportunity to get some closing remarks if you choose to do so.
All right. Hey, I just want to tell you guys, well, you ladies, thank you for inviting me on the podcast. It was dope. I'm proud of you for what you're doing, and
Thank you.
uh, and I love the setup and the perspectives, and thank you, Miss Tequila, for your insight on a lot of things, and I'll be back.
Awesome. And then you have to bring, he just got married, y'all. So he has a new wife. So you have to bring the new wife on so y'all can tag team on some stuff.
Congrats, JJ.
Sure will. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart too.
I
So
know.
Tequila, I'll open the floor up to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me as always, Shadana. Um, yeah.
Look, that little solo cup got you quiet today.
I'm not gonna consider that.
I kept seeing that little solo cup go up.
That's right. You already know.
Yeah, look, the holiday don't start it.
That's right. Got my jingle juice.
I know. Look, I'm about to do something because I got to get this Christmas tree up. And I
Mm,
got pulled out the garage, so I'm like, I got to get this Christmas tree up. But both of you guys, I appreciate both of you guys joining us today and being here. But look at Jay, that's my dad. She is such a daddy's girl. They said, congratulations, JJ.
Thank you.
You got some
Thanks.
congrats on there. But I wanted to close with this because since we was talking about um, um, coming in off of April's comment, I wanted to leave with this because I just posted this for my daughter. And when I posted this for her, I had to eat these words because, of course, I was telling you that, tequila was, my friend that kind of made me, think about my thing and made me realize, like, who the heck I was. So when I got that, and I was like, let me make sure, because my daughter might have seen me, my crown a little tilted. So I want to make sure that she know her mama is good. So I sent this to her, and it says, to my badass daughter, whenever you feel inadequate, unworthy, or unloved, remember whose daughter you are and straighten your crown. I love you. So anytime that we feel like, we have fallen off, feeling inadequate, unworthy, or whatever, just remember like who we are, whose we are, or whatever, because at the end of the day, all of us have purpose. All of us are worthy to be loved and to love. So hopefully, we'll all have that opportunity. If it's not your time yet, we'll have that opportunity. So, and what did you
Amen.
say, Jada? Oh, Jada want me to read what she said on the comment. Oh, she says, read what she says. I always remember whose daughter I am. That's what keeps my crown straight. I love you more. That's what she said to her mommy.
Right, that's right, Jada. Well, Jada
So,
knows. Jada's very wise, honey. She knows, like, there's no perfect person, no perfect mom, no perfect daughter. And
all
so
right.
she knows, like, there are gonna be days, moments, hours, minutes, but hey, it's not about falling down, it's about getting back up.
Yep. Yep.
Better, stronger, wiser than before.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then when you have a great support system
Right.
and accountability and friends or whatever, make sure that's strong and that's there. So we'll definitely make sure if you don't have that, if we can provide that on this platform, the Chit Chat Podcast platform where we chat all things women. That's what we're here for. So you know, I hope April says strong black women, no shade, JJ. But you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family and friends this week. We will not have Chit Chat Podcast next Sunday. So, because I know people will be traveling and from the Thanksgiving holiday and shopping too. So, next Sunday, Chit Chat Podcast will be off. So, we'll be coming back the first, that first Sunday. Is that the first Sunday of December? I think it's the first Sunday of December that we'll be starting back. So you guys enjoy the holiday and enjoy your family and friends. And we will see you guys back the first Sunday in December. So, and 2025 is almost here, y'all. So we're about to be out of 2024. So it's going by fast. But thank you guys again. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. So
All right,
enjoy
thank
your
you.
holiday.
All right.
Have a good one.